Maryland field hockey fought their way to the Big Ten tournament final, but came up just short of securing some hardware. Maryland football continued their disastrous slide in a blowout loss. But on the bright side, Maryland basketball is back. All that and more coming up on the left bench.
When you don't play to your potential, the first place you look is at me. And I have no problem with owning that.
I hope you guys have belief in us because we're going to keep believing in what we play.
Hello everyone and welcome to the Left Bench, brought to you by Terrapin Sports Central. I'm Alana Munich, joined alongside Alex Gary. And now Alex, it only makes sense to start with the Big Ten Tournament Championship for Maryland field hockey.
I mean, double OT against #1 seeded Northwestern, and I mean, man, did this live up to some expectations. Despite all the wins this season, making it to the Big Ten Conference Championship game, Maryland field hockey measured its success by beating the best. And after nearly 77 minutes of play, they came up just short against Northwestern. The Wildcats started out aggressive in the first, outshooting the Terps 5-1. Lucky for Maryland, freshman goalkeeper Alyssa Klobasco played like a veteran with 4 early saves. Later in the third, Klobasco was under fire again, but came out clutch with a pair of saves in the last minute of play. In the fourth, Rain Wright and Josie Holloman anchored a defensive stand, stopping 7 penalty corners and sending the game into OT. With 2 minutes left in the second OT period, this one looked destined for a shootout, but Olivia Bent-Cole snuck it by Klobasco and gave the Wildcats the win in the Big Ten Tournament Championship. Here's head coach Missy Maharg on her team's outlook after the double OT loss.
We had a great tournament, and we've learned so much from this tournament. This is our second time in the whole season we've gone to 77, and, you know, you learn a lot from that opportunity. We were grit, and we had every chance to win the game. I mean, we had, I think 4 shots in overtime, right? So you know, we had chances to win this game and to raise the trophy. You know, it just didn't go our way.
A huge part of Maryland's success under Missy Maharg, its international players. Here's Eddie Calkins with more on how 2 particular Terps are representing Maryland and their countries.
We stand during the anthem and we're in a big U together. The reason we have that recognizes we're united through field hockey.
Throughout head coach Missy Maharg's 36-year tenure at Maryland, one thing remains the same: diverse hockey. Megan Frazier and Bibi Donrad are just 2 examples of past international stars prompting Maryland's success. This year, 4 players on the roster have international roots: Erica Morris-Adams, Hannah Boss, Natalie Fichter, and Maura Verleg.
Wouldn't really call Rick an international, so we've got 3 international women on the team, so they're somewhat in a minority.
Rick, short for Erica Morris-Adams, has English roots. But the reason why Maharg doesn't consider her an international player is because she is also a citizen of the United States. Her dual citizenship gives her the opportunity to play for Team USA.
There's a lot of girls on our team already on the USA team, so it's nice to be stretched with them and try and get an opportunity to play for USA one day.
But Morris-Adams isn't the only dual citizen on the Terps roster. Hannah Boss is as well.
I think they're very fortunate. I mean, from not just a sport reason, right? They're able to work and live and be free in multiple countries. So it's got to be a really great opportunity. I'm sure that's probably nice for their families as well.
Both Boss and Morris-Adams have been solid players for the Terps since their arrival to College Park. Boss has 14 points and 4 goals this season, while Morris-Adams was the co-Big Ten Freshman of the Year last year.
Every country is very different. I mean, you've got the Dutch that play a certain style. You've got the Argentines that play the English play different than the Dutch.
And that brings everyone together on the pitch.
We're all just very, very connected in the world through this game.
For Terrapin Sports Central, I'm Eddie Calkins.
I mean, Alex, Missy said it herself, each country has a different style of playing. I mean, the Dutch plays differently. Every single country plays differently, but they're all united once again with the sport of field hockey.
Yeah, and it kind of just shows how Maryland itself, Maryland field hockey, it's kind of built on this international identity. It's really what's made them successful in these past couple of years. A 5-0 start to an 0-4 skid. Maryland football is struggling. And the most recent loss to Penn State is making goals of a bowl game that much harder. Penn State quarterback Drew Aller threw for 4 touchdowns against the Terps, 2 coming in the first quarter to open an early Nittany Lion lead. Tagovailoa connected with Roman Hemby for a score that only ignited Penn State. Offensively, Aller connected on 25 of his 34 passes, torching the Terps defense. Meanwhile, Penn State's defense shut down the Maryland rushing attack, holding the Terps to negative 49 rushing yards. The Nittany Lions proved why they are the number 9 ranked team in the country, throttling Maryland 51-15. The Terps dropped their 4th game in a row and are still 1 win away from grabbing a postseason berth. Head coach Mike Locksley was not satisfied with his team or his performance.
They are, as advertised, a good front, but I don't think they're 51-15 better than us. And so to me, that's where I don't think we played to our potential. And when you don't play to your potential, the first place you look is at me. And I have no problem with owning that. And my job is to get us to play to our potential.
Penn State held the Terps to just 15 points on Saturday, their lowest number this season. Jonas Evans has more on what went wrong for the Maryland offense.
Maryland football entered their Week 10 matchup with Penn State averaging just over 32 points a game. But on Saturday, the Terps struggled against the Nittany Lions in the trenches, and the running game took the hit.
To not be able to run the ball this time of year is something that we've got to get fixed and figure out.
The Terps finished the night with negative 49 yards rushing, by far their lowest number this season.
When we tried to run the ball, and it just seems like guys are unblocked inside and you're trying to establish the run. And sometimes what happens is you get spooked out of it.
Maryland did manage to get in the Penn State end zone once in the first half, using all their receivers to get down the field before Taulia Tagovailoa flipped it to Roman Hemby for 6. Tagovailoa did his best to withstand the pressure against a relentless Penn State defense in the first half, but as that Nittany Lions lead grew in the third quarter, the quarterback started to force it, and things only got worse from there. Tagovailoa's pocket was under pressure all night, and this hit early in the fourth almost took the QB out of the game.
What we've got to do is not abandon our training, and that's across the board, not just the quarterback, the protection and up front. He's a better quarterback when those A and B gaps are really firm.
Ironically, that drive ended in a Jayshon Jones touchdown catch.
We still had a belief. There was no doubt or anything like that. We were just trying to make plays, so we were just getting a call from our coaches, and we still had belief. I was in 3 year, 3 was in my ear, we was in the offensive line ear, and all the guys, so we still had a belief.
But Penn State's pressure had a major effect on Maryland's offense all night, forcing 3 takeaways by the end of it. And this interception by Dominic DeLuca, a frustrating summary of Maryland's night. For Terrapin Sports Central, I'm Jonas Evans.
Now, Alana, one thing that really sticks out about this game is Taulia started 17 for 17. And as impressive a stat that is, he really had to do that because they could not establish that run game throughout the entire game.
Yeah, I feel like at this point in the season, they really need to be able to run the ball at this point. I mean, with Nebraska coming up, and in the last 4 games, the offense really hasn't been looking as high-powered as they did to start the year. So they really got to be able to run the ball at this point.
Exactly.
Now, don't go anywhere, because when we come back, we'll recap a trip to Ann Arbor for Maryland volleyball and the season opening for the number 21 ranked Maryland wrestling team.
We'll also be joined by TSC's own Alexa Wooten to talk about 3-point guards with some deep impacts on the Maryland men's basketball program. Stay with us.
There are 16 million children struggling with hunger in America. That's 1 in 5 daughters, sons, neighbors, and classmates who don't know where their next meal is coming from. Yet billions of pounds of good food go to waste every year. It's time we do something about it. Feeding America is a nationwide network of food banks that helps provide meals to millions of kids and families in need. Visit feedingamerica.org to help them feed even more. Together, we can solve hunger. Together, we're feeding America.
There's so many rewards in life. You coming into our home was one of the greatest rewards we could have ever had.
It took 20 years, and I got my 3rd child, who was 17 at the time.
It's so cool to watch the adult that you've become, and you really have done as much for us as you think we've done for you.
Welcome back, everyone, to the Left Bench, brought to you by Terrapin Sports Central. I'm Alex Gary, that's Alana Mutnick, and Alana, it seems like Maryland athletics really struggled to get wins across the board this week.
Yeah, Alex, Maryland volleyball was one of those teams who took an L this weekend on the road trip to Michigan. Maryland dropped its second match in a row, falling to the Wolverines 3-0 Sunday afternoon in Ann Arbor. Maryland fell behind Michigan in the first 2 sets after building leads of 4 points in the first and 8 points in the second. The Terps couldn't hold a lead in the third, but senior Samantha Schnitta led the Terps with 10 kills, followed by Sam Sire with 7. The Terps finished with 32 kills, 29 assists, 5 blocks, and 43 points, but it was not enough for the win. Maryland drops to 15-11 with a 5-9 Big Ten record after Sunday's defeat. The Terps make their way back to College Park for a 2-game homestand starting on Friday night to take on number 2 Wisconsin.
21st ranked Maryland Wrestling opened their season with a win against American, but not without some drama in the opening matches. The match started with a major upset when Braxton Brown was taken down by American's Jack Maida, but King Sandoval got the Terps back on the right track with a 6-3 victory. And from then on, it was all Terps. 4 of the 8 wins by the Terps came from bonus points, including technical fouls from Jackson Smith and Cal Miller. The Terps would go on to win their season opener against American 30-7.
Number 14, Maryland women's basketball is currently playing in its regular season opener against Harvard at the Xfinity Center. The Terps lead 31-11 at the end of the first quarter. Brene Alexander is leading the way with 6 points. Our Matthew Noose is currently at the game. Check out his game recap on our social media.
Returning stars, flashy freshmen, or just seeing Kevin Willard's face on your TV screen. Whatever your reason is for being excited for Maryland men's basketball to start, you can relax, because Maryland men's basketball is back in action. Men's hoop will oh, I messed that up. Sorry. Yeah. Men's hoop. Men's hoops will kick off their 23-24 campaign against Mount St. Mary's. Maryland has won 46 home openers in a row, which ranks as the 3rd longest streak nationally. The team is headlined by returning stars Dante Scott, Juju Reese, and Jameer Young. But we also get to see the highly touted freshmen, Deshaun Harris-Smith, Jamie Kaiser, and Jonathan Lamoth, all in action for the first time. Maryland was 5 spots removed from the first AP Top 25 poll rankings, but we'll start this push for national recognition.
This will be the first time we've had close to a full roster. I mean, our first 2 scrimmages, we were against Cincy, we had 8 guys, and against Virginia, we had probably 8.5 guys. So this will be the first time trying to figure out our rotations and things like that. So I think the biggest thing is just kind of seeing how these guys react to different lineups on the floor.
In the last decade, 3 point guards have made a tremendous impact on not only the men's basketball team, but on the fans. All 3 hold many similarities, but one stands out amongst them all.
Alexa Wooten has more. Alexa?
That's right, guys. PG County for Mo stands for Prince George's County. All fans, it has another meaning. Point Guard County. Melo Trimble, Anthony Cowan Jr., Jameer Young. You know them, you love them. Their names are imprinted in Maryland basketball, and they're all from PG County. Melo Trimble was the first of the hometown hero point guards to come into College Park, and boy did the fans. He lit up Xfinity every chance he got. Trimble played for the Terps from 2014 to 2017. He earned every conference and regional honor you can think of, was named to multiple Wooden watch lists, and made the Naismith Trophy top 30 his junior year. Trimble finished his career ranked 13th in points, 2nd in career made free throws, and 8th in made 3-point field goals. Talking about 3-point field goals, no one could sink a game winner like Trimble. 1.2 seconds remain, and Trimble sinks the 3 in his face, and the Terps take the win. Junior year, he said, "Let me do you one better." Trimble pulls up and sinks a 3, giving Maryland the 63-60 win over Michigan State with 1.1 seconds left. He also led Maryland to its first Sweet 16 since 2003, the furthest they've gone to date. Anthony Cowan Jr. came not long after Trimble, and lucky for Maryland fans, the 2 play for a year together. Cowan set the all-time record for consecutive starts, starting every single game of his college career. And get this, Trimble's second in career-made free throws. I bet you can guess who is first. Yep, Cowan beat him out. Cowan decided to stay at Maryland for his senior year, and he said, quote, "I believe I have so much more to give Maryland." And he definitely gave Maryland more. Cowan had a slew of big plays, including a game-tying three with 19 seconds left and a game-winning free throw against Illinois in 2019. Most notably, in his senior year, Cowan led Maryland to the 2020 Big Ten Championship, a team fans and Cowan himself could have seen hanging a national championship banner if the season wasn't cut short due to COVID. Cowan is still the only player in Maryland history to lead the program in scoring, assists, minutes, steals, and free throws for 3 consecutive seasons. After that 2020 season, Maryland men's basketball fell into a slump after the departure of Mark Turgeon. Not long after Kevin Willard was named the new head coach, Jahmir Young announced he would be heading back home to play for the team he grew up cheering for. Once again, leave it to the hometown guys to change the energy in Xfinity. From the moment Young stepped onto campus, he has been the defining factor of the Terps' success, a leader and big playmaker. Who can forget Illinois last December? Gold Rush game, no doubt, 14 seconds, and bang, eruption. Down goes number 16, Illinois. Young and the Terps went undefeated in conference play at home and made it to the second round of the NCAA tournament, after they came off a year when Maryland wasn't even selected for the big dance. Young led the Terps in scoring last season and, just like his predecessors, racked in multiple conference and regional honors. Alex, Alana, I'm starting to something in the in PG County. There's been a lot of talent generated here. Back to you guys.
Yeah, Alexa, when you think about it, kids who are watching this, who are growing up in PG County, they're seeing these guys play for their hometown team, their home county team, and seeing them play at such a high level. It's great that they're really serving as ambassadors for this county.
No, exactly. And Alexa even mentioned before, I mean, the Gold Rush game, just picture these kids in the crowd watching that. I mean, Jahmir Young, 14 seconds left on the clock, like against Illinois. I remember, and I almost forgot about that. And that is why I'm so excited for basketball season.
It's a great time of the year.
Now stay right here, because when we come back, we'll hear from Alexa Wooten once again about an addition to the Maryland men's basketball staff, and Alex and I will discuss our predictions on all things Maryland basketball.
And of course, we'll crown our Terp of the Week, Pro Terp, and Top 5 plays. Don't go anywhere.
I tell my son, I love you every single day. I love you. Now, my dad has never said that to me. Not because he doesn't love me, but because culturally it wasn't comfortable for him. Now that he's a grandfather, he says, I love you to my son every time he sees him. My advice to all the fathers out there, forget the cultural restrictions. They grow up way too fast for you to waste even a single precious moment.
I think I finally found.
Hey, how you doing?
Hey, Mason.
Hey, Mason.
Got a new house. It's looking pretty cool so far. A place that I call home.
I'm teaching Louise how to cook some lasagna.
It only takes a spark to make a fire start.
Thank you.
Study, please.
I think I finally found a place to make my own. A place that I call home. This place that I call.
Welcome back, everyone, to the Left Bench, brought to you by Terrapin Sports Central. I'm Alana Mutnick, that's Alex Gary, and Alex, there really is so much excitement in the air for Maryland men's basketball.
Yeah, and there's so many fresh faces, too, from the freshmen to the transfers, and even on Kevin Willard's staff, there's some new faces. One of those new faces is Mike Jones.
That's right, and if you know anything about basketball in this area, you know the name Mike Jones. But Jones isn't the only DMV native part of Willard's staff. Alexa Wooten joins us with more. Alexa?
Yeah, guys, David Cox is also one, and him and have known each other third basketball. I was able to talk to them about their lifelong friendship. Take a look.
David Cox and Mike Jones both grew up in Prince George's County, Maryland. Their friendship began when they were 13 years old, playing for the Allentown Go-Getters. Then it was time to play high school ball. Cox went to St. John's College High School and Jones to DeMatha Catholic High School, the top 2 teams in the Washington Catholic Athletic Conference. They got the opportunity to play together one last time their senior year for the District All-Star team, now known as the Capital Classic.
But it was, again, an opportunity for us after going through 4 years of high school, not being on the same team, to get back and play against each other once again before we go off to college and, again, try to kill each other.
And they played against each other in college, too. Cox at William & Mary and Jones at Old Dominion.
I don't think I've ever beaten this guy in high school and or college.
Despite Jones and Cox going their separate ways, they still cheered each other on from afar. And now it has come full circle. The two back on the same team once again.
So Mom always told me if you can't beat them, join them. So when there was opportunity to get Mike over here, knowing who he is as a coach, who he is as a person, you know, I didn't hesitate to give him a call.
Cox came to Maryland in 2022 after Kevin Willard was named the new head coach, and Jones was named the new assistant coach at Maryland in April 2023.
One of the first things that Cox said to me when we got on the floor together for our first workout, he said Lester Butler would be proud of both of us. And Lester Butler was our head coach on the Allentown Go-Getters.
Cox was quick to celebrate on social media that he was getting to coach with a teammate, opponent, and friend.
I would imagine this is what it feels like, working with a brother.
A game of basketball. That has been the center of a lifelong friendship.
What a journey for the two coaches and for you. Mike Jones was born the day before David. Talk about a lot of connections between those two. Back to you guys.
Yeah, guys, it's funny to think that a 30-plus year friendship all started from playing basketball when you were kids. I mean, talk about the power of sports.
I mean, they said it themselves. If you can't beat them, join them. All right, Alex, basketball season is finally upon us, and I know it's a bit premature, but let's have some fun and look at the end of the year with some predictions.
Let's do it. So we'll have some end-of-the-year topics and give some predictions for Maryland men's and women's hoops. So first up, let's just do the wins for each team. So I guess I'll start with the men's basketball team. I think they're going to get around 24-7 wins, which includes 17-0 at home. They're going to go perfect at home. I think they can do this. They almost did it last year. They had that one loss to UCLA because the fans at Xfinity make a difference. They really get in the head of the opponents, and they make it an environment that's unlike any other. Now, the problems start going when they go away. Last year when they went away, they really struggled to get those wins. But I think in year 2 of the Kevin Willard era, they'll start to get it a little more under wraps. They're not there to beat the Michigan State Purdue's, but they'll start to get a little better on the road.
I could definitely see that. That's also a hot take, really winning all the home games, but honestly, I can get on board with that. But I think if they really focus on their away games and really getting that down pat, I can see where that's coming from. And similar to women's basketball, I mean, getting their home games, I mean, Brenda Frese's schedule is a little bit more difficult. She prides herself on their difficult schedule. And last year, they were 28-7 overall. So now that we lost Diamond Miller and Abby Myers, WNBA draft, I do think that we're going to lose a couple more games than last year, maybe go 21-8, 22-7. We play Ohio State 2 times, so I think we could go 1-1 with that. And as you said before, just being at home, that environment when they play Ohio State at home, I think that could be a win, but definitely going to win. Couple less games than last year. Still have Cheyenne Sellers, bunch of great players on the team, but not as many as last year.
Xfinity, men's and women's, always is a factor. So now moving on. Breakout player of the year. I'll start this time with the women's team. I think Jakia Brown-Turner, transfer from NC State, she's going to be a big factor this season. Now, Brenda Freese said it herself. She shows a lot of resemblance to Diamond Miller. Their play style, very similar. And she can fill into that Diamond Miller role. But something they do a little bit different, she can attack the offensive glass better than Miller, according to Brenda Freese, and get those extra points. And I feel like that factor will really help and make her stand out on the Terps.
I was actually just going to bring that up. I mean, Jakia, I think she's going to be such a crucial player for women's basketball. I mean, some people are even saying that she could never be Diamond Miller, but she might be the next Diamond Miller, you know? And men's basketball, there's a reason why there's so much hype around him. Dayshawn Harris-Smith. I mean, he's just the epitome of a Big Ten guard. Such an athletic player, he's strong, and also he played for the WCAC, so I don't think it's going to be that difficult of a transition for him to go into Big Ten play. I mean, every single game he's going in, he's going to battle like every game. They don't have a crazy difficult season. He's not going to be thrown into anything new. Yeah, he's a freshman, but he's strong. He has that athletic ability to adapt, and I think he's our breakout player.
And I think he could also break out because of the players that are around him. You have veterans, Jameer Young, Juju, you got Dante. All these guys are going to make him a better player, and at the end of it, he could be that breakout player, like you said. All right, now moving on to the last topic. What do you think, some hot takes. Now, last year, I said, almost a year ago, I said, Jameer Young's going to lead this team in points per game. And I was right.
And you're right.
Not to pat my own back, but I'm about to hit you with a hotter take.
Oh, God.
This year, Juju's going to lead the team in points per game.
That is a hot take.
I know it's crazy, but he has shown a lot of growth, especially last season. He went from Julian, who wasn't as really confident in his interior game, to Juju, who was really confident, the guy who can go against Hunter Dickinson, Zach Edey, and really push him around. Now, I know a lot of it concerns with his free throw percentages and some of his jump shots, but I feel like in the offseason he would get that figured out, and he would be able to lead this team in points per game.
I can see where you're coming from with that, but that is too much of a hot take for me, and I do think that the leading scorer is still going to be Jameer Young. I mean, I don't know, just his season last season, I can only see him progressing from here. But my hot take for women's basketball, I don't think that the team has what it takes to make some noise in the Big Ten like they did last season. I mean, I hope I'm wrong, but with just losing Diamond Miller and Abby Myers, they were their staple players. The team knew that they could always fall back on them. I mean, Cheyenne Sellers, she's one of the best in the country. They also have new players like Jakia Brown-Turner, who is going to cause a ruckus on the court, and Riley Nelson, freshman, Hawa Dambuya, who is going to just 6'7" center, really, really talented girls. And I just think that those two not being on the team anymore is really, really, really going to cause some issues for the team.
I think I'm going to have to disagree with you because in basketball and pretty much all sports, if you have one of those coaches who transcends the sport and is able to lead their players, then they're going to win. Wins are going to come. So I may have to disagree with you there.
All right. A lot of predictions and clearly some excitement around these two teams, but there were plenty of excitement with our Terp of the Week too. Maryland field hockey could not secure the W in the Big Ten championship, but one Terp on the team still showed out and had one of her best games, and that was freshman goalkeeper Alyssa Klobasco. Klobasco made 9 saves Sunday afternoon, the second most of her career. Top-seeded and #1 ranked Northwestern outshot the Terps 22-8 with big-time saves. In every quarter, she kept the Wildcats scoreless until the first period of overtime. Klobasco had a season high of shots faced this weekend and was on the field for all 78 minutes of play. Congrats to Alyssa on being crowned our Terp of the Week.
All right, our pro Terp this week may not be a professional runner in your eyes, but he certainly is in ours. It's our executive producer, Ricky Podgorski, who finished a marathon. Ricky ran in the Marine Corps Marathon in DC the other weekend with a time of a little over 5 hours. But he actually did it with a bad foot injury. He is currently booted up, but he pushed through and went all 26.2 miles. Some of us got to go and cheer him on, and we're all so proud of him. Congrats to Ricky on being our sort of pro Terp. We'll be at the next one day.
All right, Alex, top 5 time. Let's get into it.
Let's see who showed out this weekend. Kick it off, Alana.
All right, at number 5, we're going to go with a block by Anastasia Russ and Samantha Schnitta. I mean, let's just watch that again in slow motion. What an incredible block, the height on those girls.
And moving on to number 4, Alyssa Klobasco with the save. This came in the third quarter, and it was decisive. This kept the game level and really made the Terps get into it. Their defense was strong all game, and Klobasco was a brick wall all game. Unfortunately, they didn't get the win, but Klobasco proved she's legit.
We had to go with another volleyball clip, and this was a kill by Samantha Schnitta in the first set. Volleyball has been on their game, and just look at that kill.
And on to number 2. They may not have gotten the win, but Ty Felton really proved he wanted it. He muscled through the defense, and he would not go down. He did eventually get tackled at the 1, but he proved he was worth it.
And at number 1, we have a save by goalkeeper Alyssa Klobasco in the first period of overtime. What an incredible game. Yes, they may not have won, but it just was an amazing game. Double overtime. I mean, Alex, it was crazy, and she really stuck out.
And I'm excited to see what this team does in the NCAA tournament.
Me too. Well, that does it for this edition of The Left Bench. On Thursday, we'll go all in on the Maryland field program, and then in a week from today, Ricky Podgorski and Kira Bruno will be back behind the desk.
Until then, be sure to keep up with all of TSC's coverage on X, Instagram, YouTube, and online at TerrapinSportsCentral.com.
We'll see you next time.